To speak of extremes, this means that in Iaido, you basically can just train for a long period of time, and eventually you will be called a master. 皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. Iaido is a katana Budo martial art that is believed to have started about 450 years ago. Because we train with steel blades, we never actually fight with someone like in kendo, but we usually only practice through kata, which are the fixed exercises assuming various situations of battle. I am an Iaido trainee that has been training for about 6 years now. But I am still seriously obsessed with this Budo, and I'm always excited to go to my training. You too might be training Iaido yourself, and you might agree to what I say. However, because I am a dedicated trainee, I often see the dark side of the world of Iaido too. It's a little bit sad, but there are some things that I hate about this katana martial art. So today, please allow me to talk about my opinions on why I hate Iaido. I would also like to present my ideas on how Iaido should change and what it should learn from KYUDO, the Japanese archery martial art. A katana and bow are two very different weapons. What does Iaido have to learn from KYUDO? I hope you can watch this video till the end to find out. By watching this video, you can deepen your understanding towards Iaido, and I hope it'll be useful information for those who are interested in starting training. One thing I need to make very clear before I start is that I'm going to be talking about Iaido and not about the other katana martial arts like Budo, Iaijutsu, and Kenjutsu. Lastly, if you are a Budo practitioner yourself, it would be great if you can let me know about your opinions and experiences in the comments. I would love to learn from you. In this channel, you can take a closer look at Japanese traditional culture, tips on traveling to Kyoto, and social problems in Japan. So learners and lovers of Japanese language and culture, be sure to subscribe to enjoy more content. それでは本日も参りましょう。Then, let's jump into today's main topic right away. These are the 3 things that I hate about Iaido. 1. Instructors insist that their theory is absolute. 2. Instructors insult each other inside the dojo. 3. Disregarding reiho etiquette. 1. Instructors insist that their theory is absolute. This is something that often exhausts me. Whenever I go to training to other dojos or different ryuha styles to deepen my understanding towards the katana. In worst cases, there are people who talk bad things in front of me about my main instructor or ryuha styles while giving me instructions. Oh, that sensei! That guy doesn't know anything he's doing. It's all pure nonsense. The techniques your ryuha teaches are useless. Do you really think you'll be able to win against anyone with that? One thing that I want to make very clear is that there is no right or wrong in Iaido. We don't have any games where we actually fight each other with steel swords. And there are no occasions of being attacked by someone with a katana on the streets. The only thing we are training to do in any Iaido ryuha style is fighting a virtual opponent in a fixed situation through practicing kata movements. I've met dozens of instructors speaking confidently that their theory of how to hold, swing, and sheath the katana is the best and the only correct way. But what's funny is that they often say things that are completely opposite of each other. Why does such a thing happen? It's because every instructor has a virtual enemy that they assume will work in favor of themselves. Yes, of course you are all correct, because your imaginary opponent will always lose for you. 2. Instructors insult each other inside the dojo. You might have thought that the first thing that I talked about was already terrible, but stay with me, because it gets even worse from here. let's just say that sometimes saying complaints or opposing opinions once in a while is fine. We are, of course, all humans. But would you say them in a room where other people can clearly hear you? That would be just purely rude, right? I've actually experienced this many times before, when all the students were lined up to be taught by one of the sensei that's standing in the front. There were other instructors in the back, leaning against the wall, saying, "Look at him, giving his terrible instructions again. Who will understand anything listening to that?" But guess what? These instructors who were insulting the sensei standing in the front, when you talk to them individually, they would say, "Don't listen to those guys I was just talking to back there. You can only trust me." I had a hard time picking up my jaws that were on the floor. What is the purpose of training Iaido? As an example, I'd like to introduce to you the Iaido Federation's definition. The ultimate goal of Iaido is not to win a fight with another person, but to acquire a sense of morality as a human being through the training of technique and mind, and to master harmony. However, if this current situation is what Iaido means by sense of morality, then I don't think I want to follow this path. 3. Disregarding Reiho etiquette. The last reason is probably the biggest reason why I hate Iaido. In Iaido, just like other Budo martial arts, we are supposed to value etiquette and discipline, such as greeting the dojo, your instructor, and superiors. However, in Iaido, we have a special bowing that we need to do to our katana too, called Tore katana bowing. We have this culture because katana were originally called the soul of the samurai. So it wasn't just a weapon, but a special item that proved you were a noble warrior. We are taught in Iaido that we must handle our katana as if it were something sacred, and always remember that it's something more important than us. Or at least that's what they say. I felt like leaving the dojo immediately when some masterclass sensei started to talk about what they want to eat for lunch during the bowing procedures to the katana. To be honest, the skills that we learn in Iaido are not practical at all. And again, no one is even allowed to walk with a katana outside today, which means that Iaido is more of a spiritual training, or at least we must define that Iaido is. Otherwise, there really is no purpose in training in it at all. Randomly chatting about something that has nothing to do with the training during the important bowing procedures in front of everyone, I think is a very embarrassing act as an instructor. Among Japanese Budo martial arts, there is one more that shares similar aspects as Iaido, KYUDO, the Japanese archery martial art. However, as a formal KYUDO practitioner who trained it for about a year, I can say that there's a lot that Iaido must learn in order to pass down this precious culture to the next generation. Next, please allow me to explain about my personal theory of what Iaido should learn from KYUDO by breaking it down into 3 points. 1. What Iaido and KYUDO have in common. 2. How KYUDO is better than Iaido. 3. What can be done to improve Iaido. 1. What Iaido and KYUDO have in common. First of all, I must briefly explain what KYUDO is and what kind of training you do. KYUDO is a Japanese martial art that trains the body and mind through a series of manners of shooting arrows with the Japanese bow and hitting the target. What's amazing about KYUDO is that no matter how many years you train, every practitioner will be practicing just one sequence of movements to shoot the arrow. This is called Shaho Hasetsu, and it is almost like training a single kata in Iaido. So, what do Iaido and KYUDO have in common? This is the one crucial thing. You cannot use the skills directly for fighting. Just like how the skills that we train in Iaido, the skills that are taught in KYUDO are surely not practical. The shaho hasetsu is done very slowly with full concentration, and it is more of a ritualistic movement. You will surely not be able to shoot a moving object like a person or animal with KYUDO. 2. How KYUDO is better than Iaido. But there are two things that distinguish Iaido and KYUDO completely. They are 1. They properly value reiho etiquette. 2. There is a way to prove your skills. As I talked about earlier, there are some instructors who disregard the bowing procedures as they talk about something unnecessary while everyone is listening. But in KYUDO, such a thing will never happen. If anyone, including the top class instructors, were to talk during the bowing procedures, he or she will probably get kicked out of the dojo and lose trust forever. KYUDO correctly understands that its skills cannot be used in a real fight like other Budo martial arts, and it actually focuses on spirituality. Without it, there is no purpose in training KYUDO. Second, in KYUDO, there's actually a way to prove if your theory of skills is right or not, whether you can actually hit the target or not. No matter how high rank an instructor you are, if you aren't able to actually hit the target, no one will trust you as a sensei. But how about Iaido? It does not correctly value etiquette and discipline, even though its skills are not practical. And it doesn't even have a way to prove if your skills are actually good or not. To speak of extremes, this means that in Iaido, you basically can just train for a long period of time, and eventually you will be called a master. You never have to prove if your skills are actually developed or not, because there is really no way to grade it. One of the instructors that I've met before teaching tameshigiri mat cutting told me, the reason why some Iaido Ryuha styles consider tameshigiri mat cutting training to be something wrong or evil is because people can easily see whether or not you actually have the skills to cut it properly. So in order for the instructors to not reveal their true level, they teach their students to reject tameshigiri mat cutting. Is there any other reason for them to say that actually trying your sword skills on an object is bad? There might be other reasons like safety, but I must say that I was quite convinced by what this instructor said. 3. What can be done to improve Iaido? Then lastly, I would like to state my opinion on how we should improve Iaido. 1. Value reiho as much as KYUDO does. 2. Respect other Ryuha styles and learn from each other. 3. Have each practitioner hold a clear purpose for training. First of all, Iaido must absolutely value the reiho bowing procedures and etiquette as much as KYUDO does. We must obviously do it in complete silence, while each and every trainee truly focuses on appreciation to our lives and katana. Instructors must be very strict about this to their students and themselves. If we don't, we are going against the goals of Iaido that the federations set up for itself. Next, we must always remember to respect other Ryuha styles and practitioners. We must create a culture where talking bad things behind each other's back is something very embarrassing. And keep in mind that what you are learning is just one theory of the katana. According to some of the instructors I've met, there used to be frequent sharing of techniques and improvement between schools. Now, however, the masters of various styles have made it a taboo to learn other ways of thinking in order to protect their own position and authority. young Iaido practitioners today are not training to please others or to satisfy someone's desire for approval. In order for Iaido to be truly meaningful, it is necessary to break down this barrier between styles and dojo. Lastly, I believe that each Iaido practitioner needs to be clear about the purpose of his or her practice. This is because, as I've explained earlier, Iaido does not provide a clear goal, such as winning a battle against someone else or hitting a target with an arrow. Of course, it's perfectly fine to start out just because it sounds fun. However, I think it is important to clarify one's goal as he or she continues to practice for a long time in order to prevent being influenced or taken advantage of by the irresponsible instructors. Then, what are my purposes? I've actually made a video talking about that in the past, so I hope you can check that out. Finally, I want to make it very clear that not all instructors of Iaido are like the people I introduced today. I have many sensei that I respect, and even if I didn't, I still think that Iaido is really fun and I love it. However, as I often discuss with young Japanese Budo practitioners, I believe that Japanese martial arts are in the need of major change today. I'm still in my early stages of training, and I know that making a video on YouTube is not enough to make change in the world of Iaido. But I will continue to do all I can to help pass on this wonderful culture to the future generations. Then lastly, today's conclusion. The 3 things I hate about Iaido are: 1. Instructors insist that their theory is absolute. 2. Instructors insult each other inside the dojo. 3. Disregarding Reiho etiquette. Iaido is completely going against the goals that it set for itself, to acquire a sense of morality as a human being through the training of techniques in mind and to master harmony. The 3 things I believe that Iaido must do to improve are: 1. Value Reiho as much as KYUDO does. 2. Respect other Ryuha styles and learn from each other. 3. Have each practitioner hold a clear purpose for training. Young Iaido practitioners are not training to please others or to satisfy someone's desire for approval. In order to carry on this wonderful culture to future generations, there is a lot we must change, and I'm willing to do everything I can throughout my life. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If this video was helpful for you to deepen your understanding towards Iaido, please hit the like button to help me boost this video to more people. And my goal is to achieve 1 million subscribers by January 2023, so your help would mean a lot. And please check out our sub-channel and membership through the link inside the description box. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video. どうもありがとうございました。Now, I would be lying if I said that I wasn't scared to make this video. Of course, I will continue going to my training in Japan, and I will possibly be meeting the instructors that I talked about in this video. Yes. And if they, for example, find out about me, and if they feel that this guy is probably talking about me, and they kick me out of the federation, or they kick me out of the style that I belong to, I would say it's completely fine. Because if they're going to be kicking me out for saying something that's important, then I would rather not stay here in the first place. I'll just go and study in a different Ryuha style. That's completely fine. So for my dream, for my own dream, again, to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true, I really want to pass on this culture. And yes, I'm ready for anything that was going to be coming in my way. Yes. I hope you enjoyed watching this video.